I'm not making any money. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Fair use. Yeah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners, whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom, to you sisters, your akhwatiim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson.
That the Republicans and the Democrats can't agree on nothing? Have you noticed that the Republicans and the Democrats can't agree on nothing? Except when it comes to Israel, and Netanyahu can come over here, you see the leader of the Republican, the leader of the Democrat standing together with Netanyahu. Is that a strange picture? That you can't agree on the welfare of the American people, but you can agree on what is in the best interest of Israel? Talk back to me. Oh, this man is a hater. You're too intelligent to be If I were a hater, you could put me in the dustbin of history and leave anything. But what I'm telling you today, you will face it. Tomorrow and today. I want you to reason with me, and then I want you to study what I'm saying.
End this war. I said it could be quick and decisive. It may take some time, but it's not going to take years. It's not an endless war.
And they will never have nuclear weapons. This is not Iraq. This is not endless.
We're already substantially ahead of our time projection.
We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces. And we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties.
News strikes across Tehran tonight as the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran is expanding, systematically destroying Iran's military, blowing up its missiles, and killing its leaders. President Trump saying it could last 4 to 5 weeks.
We will easily prevail. We're already substantially ahead of our time projections, but whatever the time is, it's okay.
The Pentagon today announcing it's sending more troops and fighter jets to join the operation, which President Trump launched at 3:38 p.m. on Friday.
The president directed, and I quote, Operation Epic Fury is approved. No aborts. Good luck, close quote.
But the war is also spreading to new countries with new risks. In Saudi Arabia, drones targeting the U.S. embassy in the capital Riyadh, a fire breaking out there. A Saudi official telling NBC News there were no injuries. In Kuwait, 3 U.S. fighter jets were shot down and seen plummeting from the sky. The Pentagon said it was friendly fire, that the jets were hit by Kuwaiti missile defense systems. The crews all ejected and survived. In this video, you can see a parachute on the ground and what appears to be an American pilot in the back of an SUV, looking healthy but rattled. As the Pentagon announced, at least 6 American service members have been killed. The Pentagon saying it now has total air superiority over Iran, allowing the U.S. to hunt down the missile launchers Iran is using to carry out attacks, including against Israel, where an Iranian missile made it through air defenses this morning. Prime Minister Netanyahu touring a town where 9 Israelis were killed by another Iranian strike. Iran is not just hitting Israel, but multiple Arab countries. Iranian fighter jets attacked Qatar, but were shot down, according to the Qatari military. In Bahrain, Iranian drones hitting residential high-rise buildings. In Kuwait, the international airport damaged by an Iranian drone strike. And tonight, Iran targeting Saudi Arabia, with damage seen in these oil fields. Iranian drones hitting residential high-rise buildings. In Kuwait, the international airport damaged by an Iranian drone strike. And tonight, Iran targeting Saudi Arabia with damage seen in these oil fields. The Washington Post reporting over the past month, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has urged President Trump to attack Iran, according to 4 people familiar with the matter. And we've learned the U.S. and Israeli strikes were launched on Saturday because intelligence showed Iran's supreme leader would be at a meeting of senior officials that morning, according to 2 sources briefed on the matter. In addition to Ayatollah Khamenei, the U.S. says 49 leaders from the Iranian regime have been killed. Iran has not confirmed all of the deaths.
They've armed militias across Iraq and Syria. Nobody serious disputes that. But here's the honest truth. There was a moment when we had a different path. The JCPOA, the nuclear deal negotiated under President Obama in 2015, wasn't perfect. I said so at the time, but it was something. It was a framework. It had inspections. It had verification. It had buy-in from our European allies, from Russia, from China. And in 2018, President Trump walked away from it. No replacement, no alternative framework, just maximum pressure, and a bet that isolation would bring Iran to its knees. It didn't. What it did was accelerate their enrichment program, harden the regime's grip on power, and narrow the diplomatic space to almost nothing. So when people ask me, was military action against Iran inevitable? I say no, it was never inevitable. But it became a lot more likely the day we abandoned the only diplomatic architecture we had. And that's not hindsight. I said it then, and I'm saying it now. Nobody in their right mind thinks the...
This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 45. It says, therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, that he have taken against Babylon, right? Which that's the daughter of Babylon, which is America, right? And the Lord has taken counsel, right? The Lord said that he has pronounced this the end from the beginning. So now we're coming to the end, and this was already pronounced. It was already counseled, amongst him, his son, the angels, right? So everybody knows the program, and this is the things that, as things go in life, this was, everything was ordained, should I say, for this moment, right? Because of the counsel of Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai, that he have taken against Babylon, right, which is the daughter of Babylon, which is America, right, and his purpose that he had purposed, right, against the land of the Chaldeans, speaking of America, right? Surely the least of the flock, which are the Amalekites, Amalek, right? Because out of all the Edomites, he's the grandson, he's the least, but at the same time he's the chief, right? He's the least because he's the grandson, but at the same time he's the chief of all the nations. Why? Because he's the international bankers, right? So the least of the flock shall draw them out. In fact, let's go into that real quick, just to show what I was just saying, because what makes him the least is he's the grandson of Esau. Yeah, so this is Genesis chapter 36 and 11, and the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Zepho, Gaman, Timon, and Kenaz, right? And it says, and Timnah was concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, right? So this is actually Esau's son, right? And she bore to Eliphaz what Amalek. So this is Esau's son having a son, which is Amalek, which will be his grandson, right? Which is Amalek, These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife, right? Yeah, this is Numbers chapter 24, verse 20. It says, and when he looked on Amalek, he took up this parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, basically being what they're the international bankers. You know, they're the ones who got all the money, right? They're the reasons why there's a Rothschild central bank in all the countries. I believe the only country that was holding out was Iran. They didn't have a Rothschild central bank, but even then they must have had some type of control over them, because during the time of the CV-19, they were all participating, just with all the whole push towards the what do you call it, the digital ID. They're all for it, so they're all on same page as far as those things. But something must have them where they there's a difference of conflicts for whatever reason, you know, as far as other things, obviously. So, but showing you that Amalek was the grandson, but he's also the chief of the nation, and was the first of the nations, and his latter end shall be that he perish forever. Yeah, so that's the, you know, yeah, they're the least, you know, because they were the grandson of Esau, the least, and they got the least population too, I believe, out of all the Edomites. They're not as big as all the other, you know, the Edomite tribes. Small, like when you deal with the nation of what they call Israel, the state of Israel, should I say? Because it's not a nation, it's a state. The state of Israel is very small in comparison to, you know, Russia, or what's going on in Europe, or all of America, right? America, Canada, down into Mexico, right? A lot of those, you know, Edomites, man, you know, so, yeah, so it's technically small, but then they're the ones who pretty much rule all these things because they have the money, right? Because it speaks about the borrower is slave to the lender in Proverbs, which they're the ones who make you borrow. That's why this whole thing is built off of a debt system, you know, to ensure that they're the ones who's ruling, right? So that way you're enslaved to them. But yeah, so they're the least of the flock, should draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them, right? Because hey, Israel is going to get hit too. It's going to be a desolation as well. It's going to just not as bad because it's going to get built back up, but it's going to be bad, right? These little bombs that they're getting from Iran right now is no comparison to what's about to come, because all these nations hate them now. You know, just at the noise. See, because America, Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, is gonna get it worse. You know, because everybody hates this place. And which is part of the Lord's counsel is to make this place the biggest desert that's ever existed, right? So at the noise of the taking of Babylon, right, the daughter of Babylon, which is America, which is a representation of Esau, right, showing you that the Edomites are ruling, they're on top, right? The end of the Babylon, it's like a taking. The noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth shall move, right? Because when the nukes hit off, it says gonna make the world roll to and fro like a drunkard, right? And that's just, you know, makes sense, because what America is gonna shoot off missiles, but the brunt of the missiles are gonna be hit on this side, and all those warheads are gonna come out. 200 million warheads is gonna come out and make this place desolate, a desert. And the cries shall be heard among the nations, and all the nations everywhere else in the world is going to hear. They're going to know, right? It's going to be a grave judgment that the Lord has for this place. Okay, yeah. This is Jeremiah 49:20. It says, therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh, right? Same thing the Lord said earlier. This is the Lord's counsel. This means that this was preordained, of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai, that he have taken against Edom, right? Showing you that this is the exact same verse. It said Babylon there, but it's saying Edom here. And his purpose that he purposed against the inhabitations of Teman, right? And that's like the Germans, right? Because they're the ones who are intelligent enough to build the atomic bombs, which now you have nuclear, right? Because it's accelerated because of the knowledge. Daniel says the knowledge shall increase, right? So you get the Project Paperclip, where half of the German scientists went to Russia, the other half went to America, and then you had the arms race, and now you have this thing where all these different countries have nuclear missiles, But their thing is they're trying to prevent Iran from having a nuclear missile, which I don't believe that they're trying to prevent them from that. It's just it's something that they need from them. I don't know if they need them to bow down and receive what's it called, the Central Rothschild Central Bank, or it's just it's just in them to have this thing, because ultimately, right, because this is going to be bringing in their defeat. And if you go back into history, it was the Greeks that defeated the Persians to come into rulership. So, I mean, if you understand that Esau was the Greeks, so this is still Esau, the Roman Greco Empire all over again, and this time they're attacking Persia. But the way the Lord set up this time, when they attack Persia, they're going to lose. So the Lord said what? That he had purposed against the habitation of Teman, surely the least of the flock, right? Which we went through that. Amalek is the least of the flock. It's the grandson. Though he has all the power, he's the international bankers. He's the reason why there's most wars are just banker wars. It's all about money. That's why they don't mind going through this anyway. As far as they're going to make more money. But also there's something more to why they really need this, for whatever reason. And I believe it's more it's just to be strategic, because really I believe it's just going to be prophecy, because this is the Lord's counsel. They don't know why they got to bug up their what, and it's just bothering them. They have to come after these people. Why? Because this is going to be their end. So as the least of the flock shall draw them out, right? Being America, the daughter of Babylon, which still represents Edom also, right? Egypt, Syria, right? That's this place. Right here, America, daughter of Babylon, should draw them out. Surely he will make their habitations desolations, desolation with them, right? And both of them are going to get wiped out. The state of the Israeli and the daughter of Babylon, which is America, is going to get wiped out in this whole war. This is their end. This is the America's 250th year of America, and most empires only last 250 years. So it's a perfect time that the Lord counsel that he purposed that this thing would happen. So as the least of the flock are drawing you out on your 250th year, hey, it's perfect. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall, right? And that's the missiles so showing you this is the exact same scripture. And at the cry of the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. And in the other verse it said all the nations heard it. But it's showing you from all the way from America all the way to the Red Sea, you're going to hear it. That's how great of a thrashing those nuclear warheads are going to be coming. It's going to be a bunch of warheads out of one big warhead, and it's going to be a bunch of little warheads, and it's going to be a great noise, man. To say the least. It says, behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. He shall come up and fly as the eagle, and spread his wings over Basra, which is another chief place of Esau, Edom, which is ultimately speaking about what? America, right? Because the Lord said, what will I if it already be kindled? So the Lord's going to make sure that this place is plenty kindled. He's going to shoot laser beams from the chariots, what they call UFOs, hot concentrated, it's probably greater than a laser beam. You got to think this is the Father's technology is far beyond this world or all that you can imagine. But, just to give you an understanding, it's like a laser beam. Laser is going to be shot from the chariots to kindle this place. And the fathership is going to spread, like you seen, Independence Day? That big fathership, and it literally shadowed over there pretty much the entire world. At that time, they were just showing it was just New York. But you have to understand that the ship that the Lord, it's a flying mountain. It's going to be huge. It's going to overshadow the world when you see Yahweh Shai coming. Right? It's going to be very masculine. The Lord's going to come very masculine and glorious and spread his wings over Basra, right? At that day shall the hearts of the mighty men of Edom, right, be as the hearts, right, the mind of a woman in her pangs and travail, right? They're going to be, sore, sore afraid, right? But yet there's fight, right? Yeah, so this is 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 6. But I beheld, which means look, fix your eyes, look, pay attention, and lo, which means to look, he had given himself a great mountain, right? That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's that fathership. It's going to be like a great mountain. It's going to be huge, and flew upon it, right? The mountains don't fly. So what is it? What's flying? We're telling you, whether you accept it, believe it or not, it's what they call UFOs or UAPs, which is the chariots of Israel, of the Father of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, right? And the Lord's gonna, he's gonna get busy, man. And this is the time that the Lord appointed. So you just got yourself drawn out. So this is, it's gonna ultimately spill out into World War III. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was driven, and could not. And after this, I behold, which means to look, lo, look, all they which were gathered together, which that's what's going to end up happening. They're going to gather together to fight against each other, but then they're going to have to change their position of fighting each other and to come against the Lord, which are gathered together to subdue him, or sore afraid. See, and that's that pangs. They should have pangs like a woman. Have a mind. Their mind is going to be like a woman. Heart meaning la'ab. Their minds are going to be changed into like a woman in pangs, which means travail, like a woman that's about to give birth. See, which basically means what? And they gathered together, were sore, gathered together to subdue him, were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. They're going to still have to fight. They're still going to have to fight. And lo, which means to look, and he saw the violence of the multitude that came. He neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor instrument of war, which I'm trying to tell you, it's going to be that laser beam from the chariots. It says, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, which is out of the chariot, not out of his real mouth, because people draw the thing. They'll draw, what's that? A leprous man and say it's Jesus, a leprous hippie, and say that it's Jesus, and it's supposed to represent the Messiah. Well, the Messiah is not leprous. His name is not Jesus, and no actual real sword is not going to be coming out of his mouth. This is talking about the Lord is a so-called, what they would call black man, right? And laser beams are going to come out the mouth of the chariot. not out of his personal, like out of his actual mouth, right? Out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of the lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And that's out of the chariots, out of the chariot, the fathership. I mean, that fathership, the big, great, big flying mountain is going to shoot forth fire coming out, right? This is part of all where you're about to head to World War III, the end of your society, your kingdom. And they were all mixed together, right? And this is going to be in the valley of Yehoshaphat, you know, which that's what you're basically doing. You're out there in Iran, and you're fighting out there, and then pretty much the whole Middle East is at war right now. So it's beautiful. You're coming to that perfect time. And it says and all the multitude, it says, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Yeah. Because that's what's coming, right? So this is the end, right? The end. But this is bringing forth what's coming. World War III. Yeah. So this is Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 3, and it says, and said, thus saith the Lord Adonai, the Most High, Power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash. Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. And it says, we're just going to go into the word real quick. Yeah, right here. Chief. Did I do it right? Yeah, hit that. And then, right, yeah. Chief, this goes to the word chief.
Strong's H, 7218. Ramath Negev. Second entry. Rosh.
Yep.
Rosh.
There it is. Rosh. Right? Rosh. Right? Top, head, summit. Right? Being the top person, head, top person, the best, choiced, right? Basically the top person, and go back out here, just under it. So you got Rosh, and then this is what? Prince, right? And then you have the word, I believe this one's
Strong's H, 5387. Nasi.
But when you go into the paleo, it's Shar, right? Shar. That's how you say prince in the paleo. So when you really go to Rosh Shar, right? Because this is and this goes into one lifted up, chief, prince, captain, leader, rising mist, vapor. Because it should have said because I think this is the way you say it in more of Arabic and not necessarily the Paleo Hebrew. But when you go into the Paleo, because that's how we say Yashar Allah. Shar meaning prince. Yah meaning he. Shar meaning prince. Allah meaning God, power, right? So when you go into this, it should be Shar. So Rush Shar, or Russia, right? Yeah. So when you go into that, yeah. So it says Ezekiel 38 and 3, and he say, thus saith The Lord Adawan Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Most High Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Behold, which means feast, look, your eyes, look, pay attention. I am against thee, O Gog, the chief, right? Rosh, Prince, Rosh, right? Rosha of Meshach and Tubal, right? That's how we know this, what it is. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and will bring thee forth, and will and all thy army, horses and horsemen, because we know that eventually Russia is going to be involved into this war, right? Because the least of the flock have drawn you out into this war, because that's pretty much what he said in that video. He said, I knew that Israel was going to strike, and so America had to make sure that there were going to be more casualties, which basically means you needed to be a guard unto them. You needed to protect them, and that's what you're saying. So hey, so what? So this is the Lord saying that He's going to take Roshar, which remember they had that Cold War mentality. So the Lord said, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, turn to that USSR Cold War, which is no longer going to be it's going to be a hot war, right? And will bring thee forth all of thy armies and horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with buckler and shields, all of them handling swords. So in the modern day, sword is the gun. The modern day sword is the laser weapons. The modern day sword is the drones. Though the modern day sword is whatever thing that they got, the S-400, the Su-35, they finna bring it all, man. Right? So you're gonna intervene, right? And it says Persia, which we know that's Iran, and Ethiopia and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. So we know that eventually Russia is going to join forces with Persia, which is Iran, right? It says Gomar and all of his bands, and the house of Gomarth, and all of the north quarters, and all of his bands, and many people with them, and be thus prepared, and prepare for thyself, for thus and all thy company, and since that thou are that are assembled with thee, and what the Lord said, and be thus a guard unto them. See, so America's guarding Israel, the Israelis, and so Russia's going to come as a guard, as a big brother, a guard unto what's it called? To Persia, right? Which is Iran, right? Because they're in that region of that land of where because that's why it's calling them the Gog, right? Because Russia's in that land of where Gog is at, right? Because I believe that was
like a pharaoh or a czar. Ezekiel tells us that Gog rules over a territory known as Magog, and that includes places called Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal. Now, to find out where that is, it's time to become good intelligence analysts, or if you prefer a different analogy, it's time to become good historical detectives. To that end, let's do a search first of the Bible, the rest of the Bible, to see if these words are ever used anywhere else. After all, the best way to interpret the Bible is with the Bible. Take a close look at Genesis chapter 10, verses 1 through 2. Now, these are the records of the generations of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah. And sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Japheth were Gomer and, wait for it, Magog, bing, and Madai, and Javan, and, wait for it, Tubal, bing, and, again, Meshech, bing, and Tiras.
As I wrote in Epicenter, not all prophecy scholars agree, but a number of prominent ones believe that not only is Magog Russia, but that Meshech refers to Moscow, and that Tubal refers to the Russian city of Tobolsk, located on the Tubal River in Siberia. In Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 6, the Lord tells Gog that he will bring his military coalition against Israel from where? From the remote parts of the north. Look at chapter 39, verses 1 and 2. Quote, "And you, son of man, prophesy against Gog and say, Thus says the Lord God, Behold, I'm against you, O Gog, prince of Rosh, Meshech, and Tubal. And I will turn you around, drive you on, take you up from where? From the remotest parts of the north, and bring you against the mountains of Israel." Now, let's look at a map. Start in Israel and our capital right here in Jerusalem, and let's go due north as far as we can. Where do we wind up? Russia, and its capital, Moscow. Interesting, huh? The next country on our list is Persia, and that's an easy one, because until 1935, Persia was the official legal name of the country that today we call the Islamic Republic of Iran. Persia is Iran. But stop for a moment and think about that. I mean, way back in biblical times, Ezekiel was able to look down through the corridors of time and see the emergence of a military alliance between Russia and Iran. It's an alliance that made absolutely no sense for most of the past 2,500 years. Why? Because it didn't exist. But now it does. The next country on our list is translated in many English Bibles as Ethiopia. But the Hebrew word used here is Cush, another name found in Genesis 10. Josephus traced the Cushites to the kingdom of Ethiopia. But ancient Ethiopia encompassed far more territory than it does now. Today, the biggest section of ancient Kush is the country that we know as Sudan, which is closely aligned today with Russia and Iran. So let's write that one down as well. Kush is certainly Sudan, but let's be fair, it might also include modern Ethiopia and possibly even Eritrea. The next country on our list is Put. Now, where do we put Put? Okay, sorry, I couldn't resist that one. Well, Josephus wrote that Put was the founder of ancient Libyos. That's a big clue. But again, we need to remember that ancient Libya encompassed much more territory than modern Libya does today. So I would write that down as this. Put is Libya, but it might also include Algeria and possibly Tunisia. The next country on our list is called Gomer. We know from Genesis 10 that Gomer, like Magog, Meshech, and Tubal, was a son of Japheth, which puts the Gomerites, people of Gomer, and all the rest of them into one big violent clan. Josephus wrote that, quote, Gomer founded those whom the Greeks now call Galatians, but were then called Gomerites, unquote. That's important because it tells us that if Gomer is Galatia and Galatia is in Turkey, then this makes it Turkey. And that's why biblical scholars that I trust most believe that Gomer is modern day Turkey. The last country on our list is Beth Togarmah. Bible scholars generally believe that Beth Togarmah refers to the people of Turkey, Armenia, and the Turkic-speaking peoples who spread out across Central Asia over time to countries like Turkmenistan and possibly to others as well. Now, where does all this leave us? We've learned that the coalition that will attack Israel in the last days will be led by an evil dictator from Russia, whose chief ally will be Iran, and that he'll have other allies as well, including the armies of Sudan, Libya, and Turkey, and possibly others as well. Now I want to wrap up with 2 points.
This is Revelation chapter 9, verse 11. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue had his name Apollyon, right? Satan. Satan's their king. They're always praying to Satan, huh? But it says, but they got the shadow government, the Illuminati. They have their elites that rule over them, and things like that. But then ultimately, the spiritual demon Satan is over Esau, right? That's their God. That's their right here it said angel representing their power, Speaking as a man, it could be, say, but it says one woe, which means judgment, right? Judgment, destruction, right? That'll be the first war. Woe, one woe is past, World War I, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. So World War II and World War III is to come after, and we know that at this point, World War II, so this is Revelations 11, verse 13. It says, and the same hour there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the power of the Most High, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Ruach HaKodash of heaven. The second woe, right, World War II, is past. So we already know that World War II is past. So what time are we living in now? Behold, the third woe comes quickly. So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Ruach HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops of Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To your sisters, your achwatim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and above all, and Kwam Yasharallah.